Now y'all pause whatever you're fixing to do, because what I'm about to share with you carries a weight no human words could ever make up on their own. Saint Michael the Archangel, he's been sent just for you tonight, and I swear on everything, nobody, not a soul, can touch you while he stands watch over your very life. This ain't no coincidence. This ain't no random happenstance or some algorithm throwing content your way, hoping something sticks. No, sir, the heavens themselves have arranged this exact moment, so your eyes would meet these words right here, right now. Something mighty powerful is shifting in the spirit world, and it's got everything to do with you. You feel that? Your heart beating a little different? That chill crawling up your skin, them tears welling up even though nothing sad's laid right before your eyes? That right there is heaven's own signature, brushing against your spirit, letting you know what you're about to hear ain't just entertainment. It's straight up divine intervention dressed as a message. You weren't meant to find this tonight. Forces worked hard to keep this away from you, distractions thrown your way, weariness poured over your mind, even fights stirred up at home just hours ago to drain your strength so you wouldn't seek anything spiritual. But here you are against every odd, every trap, every invisible wall built between you and this revelation. That alone ought to tell you who you are in the courts of heaven. Warrior angels don't get called out for just any old task. Saint Michael don't come down for casual errands. When the commander of heaven's armies is sent to stand beside one soul on one night in one moment of history, that soul's carrying a destiny so huge, so threatening to the darkness, that the heavens had to put extraordinary measures in place to guard it. That soul, friend, is you. You're reading this because you carry something inside you that scares the enemy worse than anything else. Not your talents, not your education, not your status, but something deeper. Something stitched into your spiritual bloodline, connecting you to a long line of warriors, prophets, and intercessors who shook thrones and toppled empires with nothing but faith and heaven's fire burning in their veins. The enemy knows your name. He's known it a long, long time, and he's spent years trying to bury you under pain, confusion, and betrayal so deep you'd forget your own name in the courts of heaven. But tonight, that grave they dug for your destiny is turned round. Tonight that grave becomes the grave of their plans against you. Stay put. Don't you leave. What's coming next is going to mark your life forever. You've been carrying something no one around you fully understands, and that's why you feel so alone, even in a room full of folks. There's a special kind of loneliness that belongs only to chosen souls, and it ain't because you're short on company, but because the people around you just don't see what you see or feel what you feel. You've cried in silence more times than you can count. You've smiled through pain so well, folks who say they love you never once stopped to ask if you were drowning. You gave your all to relationships that gave you nothing but betrayal. You poured your heart into dreams and projects that crumbled just before the finish line like some invisible hand pulled the rug right out from under you. Doors that swung wide open for others with half your effort slammed shut in your face with twice the force. Promotions went to folks who did less. Recognition went to those who copied your ideas. Love went to those who never had to sacrifice like you did. And through it all, you were expected to keep your composure. Keep praying, keep believing. Keep smiling at a God who seemed to be watching your suffering from a distance, not stepping in. But let me tell you something that'll change the way you see every bit of what you've been through. None of it was abandonment. Every painful chapter was a strategic move, taking away every false foundation you stood on, so when the real foundation got laid, you'd never mistake it for the fake again. Them betrayals weren't random. They were surgical removals of folks placed in your life by the enemy to drain your anointing and hold back your rise. Them closed doors weren't rejections. They were divine detours, keeping you from places that would have destroyed you if you'd walked in too soon. The dry spells in your finances? Not punishment. They were preparing you for a blessing so big it'd have crushed you if you weren't ready. Everything that looked like loss was really protection. Everything that felt like death was just the hard labor pains of a new birth the enemy tried mighty hard to stop. And right now that weariness you feel, it ain't weakness, it's the last contractions before delivery. You're closer than you've ever been. The pain ain't getting worse 'cause you're losing. It's getting stronger 'cause victory's almost in your hands. And the enemy's throwing everything he's got in these final hours 'cause he knows his time over your life has run out. Now this is where things get deeper than most folks ever learn. What you've been going through ain't just one battle, it's a whole layered war, fighting on multiple fronts all at once against your destiny. On the surface, you see money troubles, chaos in your relationships, exhaustion weighing down your soul. But beneath all that, there have been spiritual battles waged against you since before you were even born. Generational curses laid on your bloodline. Covenants your ancestors never agreed to, spoken by folks who didn't know the cost. Altars set up in the spirit realm, feeding off your family's pain for decades, sucking your strength, your health, your peace, and your blessings without you even knowing. But tonight that ends. Right now, as you hear these words, Saint Michael stands with a sword of fire at every spiritual door left open in your family line. One by one, he's closing them up with the authority only a commander in heaven holds. The angels watching over your life ain't no low-level messengers. They're the highest order warriors sent out on a full mission of total freedom for you. Can you feel that shift taking place even now? Can you sense the heaviness that's been sitting on your chest for weeks starting to lift? That weight, it's the spiritual pressure being forced off you right this minute. The spirits that whispered hopelessness in your ear at 3 a.m.? They're being bound and cast out as we speak. The watchers who tried to steal your blessings before they reached you? They're blinded and confused by a light they just can't stand. Heaven's declared a no-fly zone over your life. Anything not sent by the Most High can't operate in your space no more. And this ain't just talk or fancy words. This is real, right here, right now. Now listen here. This is a straight-up spiritual operation that started right the minute you laid eyes on this message. And let me tell you, the proof? Well, it's going to show up in your everyday life before too long. Keep an eye on your money this week. Watch what happens with your health. Notice what's going on in a relationship that you thought was done for. See what unexpected door swings wide open with no earthly explanation. The unseen always shows up before the seen, and what's stirring over you right now in that invisible realm is so powerful, you won't be able to miss it. Now I gotta pause for a second and talk to you about something real important, because what I just shared about the many layers of spiritual warfare ties right into a resource made just for this moment in your journey. There's a digital book called The 7 Swords of St. Michael the Archangel, and its full title says it all: The Sacred Guide to Breaking Curses, Sealing Blessings, and Activating the Calling of the Chosen. This ain't your everyday devotional. Nope. It's a strategic manual that maps out each of the 7 swords to a different part of spiritual warfare most folks never get taught about. Why? Because it challenges the comfortable stories folks like to hold on to, and there were even efforts to keep this info from reaching the ones who need it most. If you've ever wondered why your prayers feel like they hit a brick wall, or why breakthroughs come easy for others, but always seem to pass you by, then you need to know there are specific activation protocols that unlock what's been sealed over your life. And those protocols, they're laid out in this guide. You'll find the link to this digital book at the very top of the comments, the first pinned comment, because sometimes the system won't let me put it right here. Head on over there now, and as an act of faith, write these words in the comments: I am chosen and I will download the digital book. That's not just some comment, friend. That's you planting a spiritual stake in the ground of your destiny, and when you pair that with the wisdom inside those pages, you're kicking off something that can't be undone. Now that you've set yourself up right, let me take you deeper into what's unfolding, because the angelic activity over your life tonight, it ain't just defensive, it's offensive. St. Michael ain't just here to shield you. He's here to push you forward into a place that's been waiting for you since before this world was even made. There's a shift happening in your spirit right now, like a rusty old lock finally turning smooth after years of being stuck. You're about to step into a version of yourself you've only caught glimpses of in dreams and fleeting moments of clarity. That ain't no fantasy. That's the original blueprint of who you were made to be, before trauma, rejection, fear, and religious manipulation buried it under layers of just trying to survive. The real you. It ain't that worn-out version dragging through each day just hoping for a break. No, sir. The real you is a force of nature, backed by the armies of heaven, carrying an authority that makes the dark powers shake in their boots when you walk into a room. You've always felt different because you are different. You never fit into those molds other folks slide right into, because you weren't made to fit. You were made to break them. Folks have been intimidated by you, even when you were at your weakest, because they could feel something radiating from you that their spirits couldn't explain but sure were scared of. And that light, it's about to shine brighter than ever before. The dimmer switch the enemy put over your anointing, It's getting ripped off tonight, and your full power is going to flood every room you enter, every word you speak, every choice you make, and every prayer you lift up. You're not becoming someone new. You're coming back to someone original. You're waking up to who you always were underneath all that life piled on you. And this awakening? Ain't no force in heaven, earth, or hell that can stop it, 'cause it's been authorized by the throne itself. Now let me tell you what's coming in the days ahead. The prophetic clock over your life has struck a new hour, and what's about to show up is going to stretch your ability to receive. Money's heading your way from a direction you ain't been watching. It won't come through the usual channels you've been begging and praying with for months. No, sir, it's going to arrive from somewhere unexpected, maybe somewhere you'd written off or never even thought of. And when it gets here, it ain't just going to cover your needs, it's going to overflow so much. Those dry years will feel like a distant memory. There's healing coming to your body right now, too. That condition you've been holding in silence because you were too scared to say it out loud or just too worn out to fight it with faith anymore is being touched by healing fire that's moving through your cells, your organs, your very blood as you listen to these words. You're going to start noticing a change. Maybe it's a sudden burst of energy you haven't felt in months, or a pain that just fades away without explanation, or test results that come back different than before. Don't you brush off those signs. They're just the first fruits of a full restoration that's going to unfold over the next season. And justice? It's coming for those who laughed at you and celebrated your fall. But this ain't about revenge, because the chosen don't operate in revenge. No, this is divine vindication, and that's something entirely different. Folks who whispered behind your back about your failures, they're going to have to watch your rise with their own eyes. Those who said you'd never bounce back, they'll see you not just bounce back, but soar right past every limit they set for you. Even family members who mocked your faith and scoffed at your prayers will come to you for prayer when their own carefully built lives start shaking, because the same God they mocked through you will be the only one who can help them. That season of being overlooked and underestimated, it's closing for good. A new season is opening up, where everything you touch is touched by favor, so plain even your critics can't explain it away. Doors that don't need a human hand to open will swing wide. Contracts you don't have to beg for will land in your lap. Relationships that don't need games or manipulation will form naturally. You're stepping into the era of effortless alignment, where what belongs to you starts finding its way to you without the desperate hustling you've known before. This is what it looks like when heaven fights for somebody. This is what it looks like when the curse is broken and the blessing flows free without any blocking. And you, my friend, are standing right at the edge of this brand new reality. Right here, right now. Before I go on, I gotta speak to you again, and I need you to hear me clear and urgent-like. There's a part of what's being released tonight that needs your active participation to really take root in your life. That digital book I told you about, The 7 Swords of St. Michael the Archangel, was written just for this crossroads, this moment between the old season and the new. It's for the chosen who need knowledge that digs deeper than surface-level spirituality. Each sword represents an authority that's been laying dormant in your spiritual toolbox, and this guide walks you through how to activate each one with care and depth. It changes the way you pray, the way you fight your battles, and the way you position yourself to receive the blessings that are already on their way. Now listen here, folks. Some folks done tried to cast doubt on this message because it shakes up that easy, comfortable kind of faith, one that keeps folks sitting back, depending on systems instead of reaching straight up to heaven. But let me tell you, the truth tucked away in those pages has already changed the course of more lives than I can count, and tonight it's offered right here to you, part of this prophetic moment we're sharing together. Head on over to the very first pinned comment up top in the comment section and grab that link. Then drop a line saying, "I am chosen and I will download the digital book." That simple declaration, it lights a fire in the spirit world, aligning your words with your actions and locking in the breakthrough spoken over your life this very night. Don't wait. Do it now before this moment slips away, as 'cause timing in the spirit, well, it's everything, and this window won't stay open forever. Now hear me good, 'cause these next words carry the weight of a decree straight from heaven's courts made just for your situation. You've wandered in the wilderness long enough, been tested, broken down, rebuilt, only to be knocked down again. That cycle, it ends tonight. Not tomorrow, not next month, not in some far-off day religion's been dangling like a carrot to keep you quiet and standing still. Tonight, that decree's been laid down, and when heaven issues a decree, it don't come back empty, and it don't need human permission to take effect. The chains that have wrapped around your potential, they're breaking right now. Can you feel it deep in your spirit? Hear the clatter of those chains hitting the ground, falling away from your wrists, your ankles, your mind, and your heart. You're being freed, not slow and steady, but sudden-like. 'Cause the time for slow is gone. You've been patient, faithful, endured long enough. Heaven's saying, enough is enough. Not mad at you, but in righteous anger at the dark forces that dared to hold captive one of God's own. Saint Michael stands over you tonight. Not just some distant figure in a frame or a statue in a church, but alive and burning with power, so strong the darkness round you's running scared. Every curse spoken by jealous tongues, burning up. Every hex, spell, dark prayer, every spiteful wish or trick aimed at your family line, consumed by a fire no earthly or evil power can put out. You're made untouchable, not by your own might, but 'cause you belong to the Most High. And he sent his fiercest warrior to warn every ruler of darkness, every evil force in the heavenly realms, you're off limits forever and no taking that back. This is your call to rise. Not tomorrow when the heat dies down and the daily grind drags you back to just getting by, but right now, this moment, while that fire's burning strong in your chest, tears falling down your cheeks, and the presence of the divine is so thick it makes the very air hum. You gotta decide now. This choice will shape whether you step into all that's been decreed tonight or let yet another prophetic moment slip past you like so many before. It ain't complicated, but it's absolute. You gotta believe who heaven says you are, not what your troubles have tried to tell you. You gotta trust that the God who split the seas, raised the dead, and toppled empires is the same God standing ready to move in your life with that same mighty power. And you gotta let go. Every hurt, every bitterness, every grudge, every unforgiveness that's been letting the enemy sneak in. Not 'cause those who wronged you deserve it, but 'cause you deserve freedom, and you can't walk fully in your purpose carrying that heavy load of hate. Let it go now. Let it fall away. Feel your spirit lift the moment you decide their wrongs don't get to shape your future. And then rise. Rise with the authority of someone who knows heaven's got their back. Rise with the confidence of one who's seen angel armies stand in guard for them. Rise with the unshakable truth that your season of defeat is done and your season of dominion has just begun. There's one more thing I gotta share. Maybe the most important part of this whole message. It's about the seal of protection being laid over your life right now and how to keep it strong in the days ahead. The 7 Swords of Saint Michael the Archangel ain't just a book to read and put on a shelf. It's a spiritual weapon meant to be used every single day. Inside you'll find specific prayers, declarations, and steps tied to each of those 7 swords. And when you walk through them in order, you build a shield round your life, your family, your money, your health, and your future that the enemy just can't break through. This guide's made for the serious fighters, those tired of surface-level faith, ready to step into the power the early believers knew before religion watered it down with rituals. The link's up in that first pinned comment at the top. Go get it now and say, I am chosen and I will download the digital book. 'Cause tonight ain't just about hearing a message. It's about gearing up for the new season you're walking into, a season that calls for a kind of spiritual know-how casual faith just can't handle. So I speak this last declaration over you with every bit of heaven's authority given to this moment. You are sealed.